Americans are very uninformed about reality, what's really going on.
The Hollywood elites, some would call them elitists, are at it again. They're typically condescending of those who disagree with their views, in this case the majority of the American population who dared to vote for Trump. Alec Baldwin calls them uninformed to reality and says that there's an information gap. Go to the video.
But there's a hole, there's a vacuum. There is a gap, if you will, in information for Americans. Americans are very uninformed about reality, what's really going on. With climate change, Ukraine, Israel, you name it, all the biggest topics in the world, Americans have an appetite for a little bit of information.
This is typical of the way so many on the left see the majority. There is no balance, their view is always right, and everyone else is always wrong, stupid, or worse. Just look at Sharon Stone.
You know, Italy has seen fascism. Italy has seen these things. You guys, you understand what happens. You have seen this before. My country is in its adolescence. Adolescence is very arrogant. Adolescence thinks it knows everything. Adolescence is naive and ignorant and arrogant. And we are in our ignorant, arrogant adolescence.
It really is time that those on the left gain some perspective on life and the necessity to see things from the other side. As soon as someone disagrees with them, they immediately behave as if the other people are evil, unethical, or deluded. This is the problem with living within an echo chamber. They do not want to hear what the other side thinks. They are so certain they have rectitude on their side. CNN is another classic example of this. Consider this exchange on CNN, where Scott Jennings dared to suggest that X was the most balanced platform in the nation. Go to the video.
I heard what you're saying about X. I saw a survey this week. It's now the most ideologically balanced user platform
Scott,
of any platform.
Stop. It's too early. I just sat down. I've only been here for 2 minutes.
You
cannot continue to say
the show, but
you cannot say that.
So,
That's not the case.
So
Who's the source of that?
What I find, we reported it on this network.
Here is the genuine irony. It was CNN itself, as Scott said, that actually presented the precise data to the viewers that X was in fact the most balanced platform. In fact, if you take the 1% margin, which is the statistical margin for error, X actually has a preponderance of Democrat users over Republicans.
Get his own platform, remake it in his own image. And I think this really gets at it. Look at this. The party ID among those who regularly use X/Twitter for news. Back in 2022, 65% of those who regularly use Twitter/X for news were Democrats. Just 31% were Republicans. Look at where we are today. Just a completely different picture. Now it's basically split between Democrats at 48%, Republicans at 47%. And what I should note, Mr. Berman, is this new overall makeup matches the overall electorate far better. And more than that, John, look at where
Apart from a lack of balance, there's also a lack of perspective on issues when it runs counter to their ideology. Have a look at the Democrat mayor of Denver, Mike Johnson, promising to resist any attempts by federal authorities to deport illegal immigrants in Denver, promising to use Denver police and Denver citizens to resist.
What we're not going to do is support deploying the 101st Airborne into American cities to pull 10-year-old kids out of their classrooms in handcuffs. I think that is immoral, that's unconstitutional, and that's un-American. And so I think if that's what they're proposing, they will find us resisting.
The mayor of Denver is not the only one. Have a look at the mayor of Boston, Michelle Wu, stating that she would also resist federal authorities cracking down on illegal immigrants, claiming that she did not want them, the authorities, causing fear in the community. there is a singular lack of balance on these issues and a lack of intelligence on the consequences, which I will get to later.
Boston Mayor Michelle Wu doubling down on refusing to cooperate with President-elect Trump's plan for mass deportations.
We have laws on the books that ensure that we do not cooperate on civil immigration detainers.
Sunday on OTR, I asked Mayor Wu what Boston's response would be if mass deportations happen.
We are not cooperating with those efforts that actually threaten the safety of everyone by causing widespread fear and having large-scale economic impact.
Incoming border czar and former Trump director of US Immigration and Customs Enforcement, Tom Honan, does not think too much of their intelligence either, and has stated that the full force of the law will come down on any people that facilitate resistance. The reality is, seemingly unknown by Wu and Johnson, is that the federal law trumps, and I intend the pun, not only local law, but state law as well, when it comes to areas where the federal government has constitutional authority.
Cities all they want.
And that's going to happen. I guarantee you President Trump will do that. President Trump has made it clear. We're going to prioritize public safety threats and national security threats right out of the gate.
As I stated before, the reality is that these mayors seem none too bright and seem incapable of considering flow-through consequences of their actions, much like those with sanctuary cities. Think of it as if you were an illegal immigrant in Texas or Florida. You know that Trump is going to come down hard on illegals, and you're concerned that you will be thrown out of the country. You know the authorities in Texas and Florida will comply with federal mandates and assist federal authorities. You've also heard that the mayors of Denver and Boston won't comply. Don't you think that suddenly Denver and Boston will become very attractive potential destinations for these people? As you can see from the proceeding, the left does not like those with alternative points of view, and certainly they don't respect anyone with different views. The problem is they are so caught up in their bubbles that they do not even know how to analyse their perspectives and are unable to consider alternatives, and are hence, ironically, uninformed to reality, to quote Alec Baldwin. Thanks for watching.